Welcome to the Color Theory series, where we talk about how color actually works on icing. And today we're going to start talking about one of the most misunderstood colors in decorating, red. This is not about quick hacks or adding more color. This series is about understanding color, building control, and getting consistent results without frustration. If red has ever turned pink, brown, or unpredictable for you, this episode will change how you see it. Red doesn't behave like other colors. It doesn't appear instantly. Red develops over time. And this is the first color theory rule with red. Red is built, not forced. Second rule. Your base color matters more than you think. When you start from a very cold, bright white base, red tends to fight you. When you start from a slightly neutral base, like a light pink, red develops more smoothly and more predictable. Most red problems don't come from the food coloring itself. They come from the starting point. Third rule. More mixing does not mean better mixing. Over-mixing adds heat and stress to the icing, which affects both color, clarity, and texture. Red icing needs time, not speed, so mix gently after each addition of food gel color. You probably heard people say that red icing tastes bitter or unpleasant. Here is the important part. Red food coloring itself is not the problem. Taste problems usually come from overloading of food gel color, not from using red. When decorators rush red, they add too much color too fast. That excess dye doesn't just affect the color, it affects the flavor. Another important factor is balance. Icings with very little fat, like royal icing, flavoring, adding water after adding food color, or not enough rest time tend to highlight chemical notes more easily. When red is developed slowly with the right base and enough time, there is no bitterness at all. That's why many experienced decorators, myself included, have never had bitter red icing. One comment that I have had very often in my classes is, why your red icing doesn't taste bad? And the reason why is because I always prepare intentionally my red icing. The issue is avoided at the technique level. In this little tray, you can see swatches of the icing. These icings have been dry for 24 hours. Now let me show you how I like to prepare red royal icing. First, I started by preparing the consistency of the icing that I am going to use. I am going to prepare medium consistency icing for outlining my cookies. So no rush even when you are preparing your consistencies. And once you have the consistency that you're looking for, it is time to start adding the food gel color. And I am going to start by adding a little bit of deep pink food gel color to the icing. And I am going to continue mixing very slowly and calm until all the color is blended. And now that I have the color base, I am going to start adding the red food gel color. Another characteristic of red royal icing is that it tends to get darker after it dries. So normally I tint the icing a little less darkened than the one that I'm going to need on my cookie design. And as you saw, I added very little amount of food gel color. And after mixing, you can see if the shade of red is the one that you are looking for. If you need to add a little bit more, you can always add more. Mistakes I see even advanced decorators make with red include adding too much color too fast, trying to fix the shade the same day, and treating red like blue or green. Red has its own rules. And I don't work with red in a dramatic way. I work with it intentionally. When you understand red, it stops being unpredictable and becomes one of the most powerful and elegant colors you can use. And this is the red color that I am looking for. So now I am going to cover it and let it rest for a little bit. If you want to see this process step by step in Spanish, you can click the link above, and also I will leave the link in the description of this video. And in the product carousel, you can see some of the items that I like to use. And this is just the beginning of the Color Theory series, because once you understand color, decorating becomes simpler, calmer, and much more intentional. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.